Hey, I had a few projects come up that dealt with quotes inside of Salesforce, and this is I think, a feature that I see a lot of companies just kind of skipping over. I think it's because I don't think it's turned on by default. So I think as new people start using it, they don't really stumble on quoting capabilities and being able to generate PDFs from quotes and things like that. So I thought I'd just do a quick run through of at least what I know about quotes. It's probably not going to be all inclusive, but this will at least help you get started and just see like some of the capabilities that are kind of built in. So I put together some notes here over what I'll cover, and so basically we'll go through and turn on quotes, set up the page layouts so that you can like actually create them. Uh, and then I'll show you how to customize the templates that are used to generate the PDFs. And I'll try it out and give you an example of that. I'll show you how to add some custom fields to the line items that are on a quote, because that seems to be like a common thing that companies want. And then I'll quickly just talk about the issues with deploying this kind of thing. Um, And I will bookmark all these on the timeline so that you can just jump to specific items without having to watch the whole video. So let's jump into it. To turn them on, let's go to the setup, and there's just a page setup for a quote. Yeah, quote settings, and you just turn it on. So it needs to be added to the opportunities. So we will um, just go ahead and let it do that for us. So now we get this quote templates. So actually, let's double check and see what it added to the page layout, and see what's out of the box. If I go to an opportunity, and by the way, this is a brand new org that I spun up. It's an enterprise edition. So I'm kind of hoping it added related list here, but I do not see it. Yeah, I don't really see what it did. So let's edit the page layout. Related list. Oh, it says it added it. Should have been at the bottom, so why didn't I see it? It could have to do with caching. So let's turn off the caching. So in the session settings, there, I don't know why it scrolls to the bottom every time. You have to scroll back up to the top. And then under caching, if we turn off this enable secure and persistent browser caching to improve performance. So let's save that. And now, okay, so now we got the quotes. So I can create a new quote out of the box, and I'll call it a test quote. Well, I should really customize the template first. Um, yeah, let's, I think it'll have a standard one out of the box. And yeah, it doesn't ask you which one you want because it's just using the standard one. So let's customize the template. So you go to quote templates, and yeah, there's a standard one here. So if you edit it, this is, I don't know. So I've used mostly I've used this type of editor for service reports inside of field service. But it's the same concept where you have some standard objects that are associated with a quote that you can drop content into the PDF. Um, so here we have line items. Yeah, so I'm glad to see that it has total price. So, well, let me go back to the top. So, mostly what people like to do here is put their logo on it. And to do that, you would drop this text image field into here. And then basically you would paste your image into here. I think you can do from a web address too. Yeah, so you could just put the URL to it. But I typically don't do that. I usually just paste it in. So I could just put like a crazy image in here. I'll just grab this and you just paste it. Doesn't want to work. Maybe you have to have it as an image. Yeah, you probably have to have it as an image. Anyhow, that's where you would go and like set up a logo. Um, and this is just basically drag and drop. You can configure these to be like one column or two column, I think, by customizing these sections. So in these section properties, yeah, you can specify columns, hide the titles, just some very basic stuff. So these line items here, so this is basically related list, and you can control which columns show here by configuring this, and then just select which columns. So I've had some people want to add custom fields to this. So let me quickly show you how to do that. So let's add for example, we'll do, some people don't like that the sale price doesn't reflect the discount. So maybe we'll put like a discounted sale price column in here so that you can see what the per unit discount will be. So we'll add a custom field. To the quote line item. So the built-in one for sale price is actually called unit price. So I'll add a formula that that modifies that by the discount. So I'll call it discounted unit price. And it will be currency. So the formula is going to be the unit price which is labeled as sales price. It's really unit price. And then I'm going to subtract the discount times the unit price. So a discount is a percentage. So if this was like 25%, we would want to, and this was like $1. So we take 25% times $1 would be 25 cents, and then we subtract that from the unit price. I suppose I mean, there's lots of math ways you could do this. You could do, but I'll just leave it at that. Check the syntax. Okay, passed. Add it. I don't care to have it on the page layout. And now if I go back to the template, you have to refresh for it to know the latest list of fields. So now I've got the discounted unit price. And I'll just stick it right there. So I'll save it, and I'll just point out that if you have multiples, then it'll prompt you. I think it prompts you for which one you want to do. So, for example, you could have, in some orgs, I repurpose the quote object to be an invoice. So you could have like a separate quote template that actually generates more of an invoice looking thing instead of a quote looking thing. But I'll just say my custom quote. Just within quotes, I've seen like people have different style quotes for like a fixed bid type of work versus hourly type of work. Usually it'll have much different language inside of the quote for those type of scenarios. So I'll save that, and now if we go back over to here to try out the quote, now when I create a PDF, boy, why didn't, I have to activate it. Is it not activated? Yeah, it's not active. So activate it. I'll refresh again. Okay, yeah, so now it asks you which one you want. So I'll generate it, and I'll just confirm that it has, this didn't have any line items. So, yeah, adding line items to a quote. Does this even have, quote line items? So I added a product in this org. Why doesn't it see the price book? Interesting. So on the opportunity, yeah, this is interesting. So if I create a new test app, and let's see why that price book isn't showing. Create the quote. So I've got the quote. Try to add a line item. So I do not have like an active price book. So let's take a look at price books. The standard price book is not active. So we should make it active. Okay, so jump back into my test opportunity, into the quote. And now we add a line item. Hey, it's working. So I'll add this, and then I could specify a discount of, say, 25%. So like 1 hour of Salesforce consulting at $200 an hour. So discounted to $150. And now let's look at the quote. If I jump back up in there and create the PDF. Yeah, so now we've got the line items. So a 25% discount at $150 total price. Perfect. And so you could add more line items. I don't know if you can add the same one twice. Never tried it. And then I think there's like a description in here too if you edit. Yeah, line item description. So this could be like for like week 2. And the other one could be for like week 1. Yep. So then if I look at my quote, Yeah, so this isn't even showing description in here. So we could quickly add that. Back to the template, I'll do my custom quote. Go to the line items, add the description, probably near the beginning. Right at the top. I think there's a limit of how many you can put here, though. I think it's like 10. PDF. Yeah, so now we got descriptions in here. So pretty quick and easy to use. If this format isn't good enough, I guess the next approach to generating PDFs would be to create a Visualforce page that like has a render type of PDF, and then you can basically create any kind of HTML that you would want for your PDF. And usually that's the way that I do it, but this is like a quick and easy way to generate it without having to do any coding. And then, so I suppose lastly, for deploying this, I guess the catch is that you can't deploy it. So these quote templates are not part of the metadata API. So you can't move them from one org to another. You basically have to redo it. So you could like practice inside of a sandbox, but what's going to be more practical would be to just instead of like modifying the ones that people are actively using, you would create a copy of them to be a new one, monkey with it all you want, and then when you're all ready to go, then activate that one and deactivate the old one. I guess that would cause the least amount of disruption. You could also, before you go mucking with it, create a sandbox so that you have like that will capture a backup then of what's configured in prod, so that if you need to go back, you have something to compare to. So you just go into that old backup sandbox and look at it. But there's not going to be any way to deploy it. So that is quotes. And yeah, again, the quotes are something that I commonly repurpose to be used as invoices as well. So invoices, Salesforce has a product to do invoicing. It's like part of their billing package. But in order to get billing, you have to have CPQ. The cost of CPQ is probably kind of cheap, but the price of billing, I think, is I think it's a lot because I don't think they charge you per user like they do with CPQ and most other products. It's more of like they charge you how many invoices you're going to generate, and I think there's like a minimum fee that they're going to charge you. But maybe you can negotiate something with your sales rep. Who knows? But I've been on some projects where it's just made more sense to code a custom solution than it did to buy the CPQ and billing and then have to pay those recurring fees over and over and over. I guess so. This is just, I guess, the entry point to quotes. The next obvious thing that you'd probably want to look into is like, how do quotes really interact with opportunities? Like understand like what it means to syncing quotes to the opportunity. So you saw me add like a product line item. Once you're syncing, all those things can then bubble up into the quote. And then once you do that, then your opportunity is using product line items, which is going to like change how your like amount field works, so that it kind of has some impact on how opportunities work. So they all kind of go hand in hand. But quotes, I think, is one of those overlooked features that is actually pretty powerful and handy to know about. All right, have fun. Good luck.